What's good? What's good? This your boy DJ Cree back with another video. Man, your boy Terrence Howard is back in the news, and I'm so glad, man. Uh, I give him a lot of I give Terrence Howard a hard time, but I actually respect him for the things he has to say. Now, he says that Diddy tried to you know what with him under the guise of acting lessons. I'm gonna play you this little sizzle reel first, then I'm gonna play you um the actual whole conversation.
Duffy invited me for weeks asking me to come and teach him wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman.
Facts. Hey, that's just the scissor reel. I'm gonna actually play the real thing, and I'll come back with my
But when you
commentary.
give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some over greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone. You don't have any foundation to pull yourself back from. So maintain your man card,
This is
no
facts.
matter what.
Man, I mean, one of the things you're seeing, you went to a whole different place.
Sorry.
No, I get it. So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head.
They can't.
The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principal. And what we were brought in here is men.
Yeah.
We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason,
Man.
because the aggression is necessary.
Facts.
You don't trade that in, no matter what.
Hey, did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
Now this is when he talks about Puffy, man. Crazy. Here we go.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah.
when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks asking me to come and teach him wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay.
Yeah.
So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you.
Oh my God. What? To even think that this dude want to smash, that's crazy. Here we go. Right. Right. Whew. Right. Right. I'm gonna be honest. This is why Terrence Howard probably lost a bunch of roles, but gained a lot of respect. You know what I'm saying? Because he's talking from a real place, and you gotta respect when a man talks like a man. You know, is there anything wrong with being gay or bisexual? No, it's not. But what he's describing is standing on your principles as a man and what a man stands for in this day and age. Um, only you, if you're a man, you understand what he means, regardless of if you believe in, you know, gay, whatever, whatever. You know what he means. You know that in this world, a man is expected to do things, to have money, to provide, to do this, to do that, to procreate, blah 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 blah. And there are in stone things that come with that process. And I think as an American, and he's speaking on Hollywood, Hollyweird, and the entertainment industry and the music industry, they've lost the value of being who you are. You know what I'm saying? And that these are all different topics, but they all the same topic when it comes to this. When you lose who you are, you no longer can function as a sane person. And he's absolutely right. Most of these guys who get into the game, they do anything for a dollar. A lot of people do anything for a dollar. Most people would do something strange for some change. 98, I say 90% of people, you say I'll give you $1,000,000 if you S my D. Most even straight dudes would probably do it. You know what I'm saying? It's it's like 10 or 15%. Maybe they'll be like, nah, bruh. I ain't gonna feel right. That's, you know what I'm saying? So we have to respect the men who think like this. We do, and we gotta put back a bit of morality and figure out what type of men do we want running black households, and also what type of men in general for culture here in the states. And I think that's important because a lot of these countries already have installed culture from hundreds and hundreds to thousands of years, and we do have that, but we have to get back to that and stick to that, I think. You know, but I do respect what Terrence Howard said. Now I be clowning him sometimes, but that don't mean I don't respect Terrence Howard from where he's coming from. I do wish he would be in more movies again because he was actually people make fun of him, but he's actually a good actor. You know, he's good at what he does. And obviously he's passionate about a lot of other things besides acting. And yes, his mouth will talk him out of roles. So we just have to be diligent on supporting these guys who not only speak out but speak up. You know, I just think, man, Terrence Howard is doing an excellent job at putting information out there that men need to hear. You know, young men, boys, y'all need to hear this information. Form your own opinion, whether you agree or disagree. But at the end of the day, this is information that you need to know, especially if you're getting into the music industry or the entertainment industry. You don't necessarily have to sell your soul, but you can see now it's all these stories and the internet, all these stories are starting to come out, how people sold themselves short to be in the game or did something disgusting or against their morality to be where they are. So shout out to Terrence Howard, man. I'm gonna watch the whole PBD podcast tonight, and I have some more stories to come up with right after this. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. More content is always on the way. Peace.